Hello and welcome to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of Wake Up Our Faith, the show dedicated to helping you live out faith where you spend the majority of your time, and that is between Sundays. The studio has been lightened by the presence of one Mrs. Emily Parker.
Yes.
Hey, Emily.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Oh, good. Emily,
Good.
So glad that you are here today. I'm Matt Ham. This is Kevin Adams. We're going to be talking with Emily here in a minute. Emily is with Journey to Heal Ministries. She's going to share about that and a fantastic event that we're behind they have coming up here to raise awareness and some funds for their mission and ministry. And Emily, I just got to tell you, you've got this following. We've got like these viewers here that are saying like, hey, I'm from North Dakota on to watch Emily.
Oh, that's my sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We just want to make sure that we know that they know that we appreciate them. Guys, this show is made possible by our corporate partners. We want to recognize them. One of those being Physical Therapy Services of Wilmington. That's ptservicesofwilmington.com on the web. Serving Southeastern North Carolina since 1983. Family owned and operated with more than 100 years of experience there in the clinic. Go see them at 17th Street or the new office at Porter's Neck, 910-763-8286. All right, I'm done talking.
Well,
for now. Shocker.
Well, we've got a lot to do here, and there's some flexibility with the timing in the segment. So, Emily, for those who don't know, Emily is a really good friend and just a wonderful human being, great parent, spouse, all those wonderful things. And so this comes from a place of affection, brotherly affection. But I think what we want to start out with is not just the ministry part of it, but your heart, where you've come from, whatever you want to share. And we can ask you lots of questions. So, but just share. Tell us how you got from where you were to where you are now as far as your heart being poured into this ministry to help women in particular.
Okay. Well, so I have a daughter. She's 16 now. Mm-hmm. And when she was almost 11 years old, she came out and said that she had been sexually abused. And we were floored. We knew that there were some issues that she had been struggling with, and but we just never expected that would be it. Mm. And so we got into the, throes of the legal stuff and all that takes place when you are confronted with that reality. And it lasted for a year. We went through, I honestly call it the year of hell. And during that time, we were at the Carousel Center for her to do trauma-focused therapy. And so I spent a lot of time on the couch at the Carousel Center. And part of that was a relief because she was in a safe place with somebody that she was processing her trauma with. And it gave me a chance to process, not in front of her. But then it was also just like this weight. And while I was there, I knew that this was not the end. I knew that we were not going to be defined by our story, not going to be defined by the abuse that had taken place. And I didn't know what it would look like. Honestly, I sat there and I was like, well, Lord, I guess I'll write a book one day. But I'm a mom and I'm a homeschool mom and I ain't got time for that. So it really I just really was like, I know that you're going to use this. And so from 2013 to 2014, we were in survival mode. Fast forward to 2016, I ended up getting counseling for what we had been through. It took that long for me to go and take care of myself. And I ended up getting connected with Crystal Sutherland from Journey to Heal Ministries through a sexual trauma seminar at the church. And from there, it just kind of grew. And then last year, she asked me to be a part of her board. And so I said, okay, I don't feel like I'm equipped to do that, but I'll say yes. And so I did. And so I'm the secretary of the board and also the events coordinator. And it has, from 2016 when I spoke at the sexual trauma seminar, as soon as I got done with my talk, I had a woman come up to me and say, "You have no idea how proud I am of you." Because I was that little girl and my mom didn't believe me.
Bless.
And I knew then, I was like, Lord, I asked you to use this for one person and you already have. And so just from that, like, I've just watched it. I have been amazed at how something that is so vile and so just wretched from just makes you sick can grow into something so beautiful and that God can use to bring people to him. I mean, really is what it is. He turns their heart to him to say, I will give you the hope and the healing that you need. So that's what we do at Journey to Heal Ministries.
You know, that, I know, Matt, feel free to jump in, but I just wanted to make a point. You know, we were talking earlier about struggle, obstacles. This is what unlocks all this. And if you're going to have this stuff in life anyway, not necessarily that, but it's a big obstacle. It's also a big call, and you've stepped into that. And so this is the faith in business. It's not necessarily about business itself. It's living it out during the week, and you're doing that. So, but this comes from a place of hunger and passion, birthed out of an obstacle. And I mean, I don't want to diminish it by calling it an obstacle, but that's what it is.
Oh, definitely.
But you and your family, like, I don't want to get sappy, but you guys are some of the best people I've ever met, and y'all have just been really good friends. But you're taking that same love to people who are in this incredibly difficult place, like that lady. You know, she was feeling that.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead, Matt. I just wanted to mention that whole obstacle thing.
Thank you.
No, I just get this picture, like I have an image of like this basement in this old musty house, just dark and stank and ugly and full of fear.
Stank,
that's a good word, right? But you walk in with this light. Like that's what this is this people are in this dark place. They're in this place where there is no hope, there is no light. They're questioning everything. They're broken, they're betrayed, and then here you get to step in and be this light. Even in the midst of the fact that you were in a similar space at one point in time. And like, I love how the gospel, like, and how Jesus and how the Father is so gracious to honor his word that says that all things work, right? You know, for the good. And like, this is the testimony of that lived out. I think so many people are willing to quote that verse and go, all things work for the good. And but this is it lived out. This is flesh and blood. This is what it looks like. And just you saying it's not easy is kind of an understatement. But what has been, from your perspective, Emily, what do you think has been the most eye-opening part of this since you've begun to step into it with your family?
Honestly, the biggest thing that for me has been how many survivors do this alone. How many kids face this and tell their parent, and their parent doesn't believe them. And to me, it just blows my mind because, I mean, I'm a mama bear, and if you mess with my kid, I'm on you, and you will not win.
I can't move over here.
So, I mean, I will not back down. Like, I will die before I back down. There's just no question about it. And so to hear I hear so often women say, my parents didn't believe me, or they believed me and they just said, oh, well, get over it, you know. And it's like, this is a life-changing thing that happens, and it impacts every part of your life. And so that, I think, would be the biggest thing that's just been a shock, you know, the shock factor.
Let's see, how we doing here on time?
We've got like 40 seconds till music kicks in.
Okay, I've got a question, but we can hold it till we'll keep going. Go ahead.
I wanted to share the mission statement from Journey to Heal before we go into break, and then we'll jump back into the question. The mission statement of Journey to Heal is: we endeavor to help women heal from past sexual trauma by leading them to hope and healing found in Jesus Christ through providing helpful resources, biblical mentoring, and life-giving support in community to help women go beyond merely surviving their past to thriving in the abundant life they were created to live.
Yeah, we'll say that again too.
Yeah,
I can't process all that. It's good.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and
glad you got that in.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we give a thank you and a nod for Journey to Heal and Crystal and the work that she's doing there. We got more with Emily Parker here, especially about the Rise Up Race series and the Hope Run coming up here in Brunswick County later this month. Yes, guys, wake up our faith in business. We'll be back for more right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Faith in Business, a part of Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, with the co-founders of UPrint, a faith and personal development organization right here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Also part of the Life Center, which is our nonprofit arm, where we help people remove obstacles and live the life of impact they were created for. We are joined in studio by the wonderful and good friend, Miss Emily Parker. So appreciate her being here today, just sharing her story. And Emily, just thank you for the courage that it takes to not only stand up and hear and be on the radio, but like what you've been doing in this community over the past few years. It's just powerful. It's so needed, dealing with sexual abuse, sexual trauma, and just giving people hope in the midst of that. So many thanks to you there. Want to recognize our corporate partners for making this show possible. One of those being Freeman Landscaping, largest privately owned land and irrigation firm in Eastern North Carolina. Many thanks to Robin and her family-owned business there for being a part of this. They've been doing this since 1992, both residential and commercial landscaping. I'm imagining this time of year is busy for them. We see the Freeman trucks everywhere we go, so many thanks to Freeman Landscaping. So diving back into the conversation with Emily here, Kev, before we went to break, I know you had a question.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a more of a comment in conjunction with a question, I guess. When I think part of what you were getting at a minute ago it was the how prevalent this is. Mm-hmm. It's out there, and yet it's hidden, and it's hidden out of fear and culture, and just so let's go back. We go back way back. It was there too, mm-hmm. and generationally, and I'm going out on a little bit of a limb here. It's in my history, so it's probably in a lot of our history. Mm-hmm. And we don't even know it. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed enough to have had that discussion with a parent and who was abused, and it breaks my heart to talk about it. But it creates incredible strongholds. But my point, what I'm getting at here, is how important this work is, because it is generational. Mm-hmm. That thing that happened a few generations back even affects me, my siblings, through my parent, and that is a huge. So I didn't know. My question is for you, just to create that context: have you thought about that, and as you're moving forward, and you know your kiddo, wonderful young lady, how this is generational and how you have changed things generationally. Does that make sense?
Yes. I totally agree with that. It is absolutely generational, and that is why we are doing what we're doing with the End 1 and 10 campaign, with the Hope Run, with everything we do. It is to break the cycle, because it's an epidemic. It happens in silence and secrecy. 80% of victims know their abusers, and a lot of those are family members. Mm-hmm. And it's a crime of convenience, and so it happens a lot behind closed doors. And so that's why we're doing it, because we want people to understand how deep it is, how secret it is, And that if you don't know anybody who's been sexually abused, it's because you just haven't had the conversation about it.
Yeah.
Because
Amen.
it affects everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Well, that's Mike's goofing around here.
To me, it's just it's amazing when you start thinking about like how prevalent this stuff is in culture, and it's just, man, it just hurts my heart. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Well, and you consider too if you start doing the research on prostitution, on drug addiction, on alcohol addiction, on sex trafficking, on all of these issues that we deal with as a culture, you will find that the majority of those people were sexually abused as kids.
That's all I wanted to add or draw out was exactly the point you just made. There's who knows how many manifestations this has in the world, that it's just terrible all the way through from root to fruit. It's garbage. But you're working on this from a place of hunger. I think the thing that hits me is when you come from experience, and look, whether it's you or your child, I mean, gosh, your kiddos are that may even have more impact, I guess, because we want to protect. So, but you're coming from a place that's sustainable because it's led by God, carried you through it. There's hunger to make this go. It's not just mailing it in. It's not just some fly-by-night thing. It's something God's doing, and He's using you and a lot of people. But I don't have a question. I'm just taking it in.
Yeah,
learning.
I want to address one of the byproducts of this, and that's shame. Shame is like this black cloud that the enemy places over our lives that we walk under, and yet that's not how we were created to live. And so help unpack a little bit of the role that shame has played, but like how the gospel, how the hope of Christ has pierced that cloud of shame. Like, what's your experience with that?
In our experience?
Well, yeah, just in general, and what you see with people that you guys walk with all the time.
Yes, shame is with sexual trauma. You can have shame from anything. You can have shame from drinking too much. You can have shame for yelling at your kids. You can put shame on yourself. The thing about sexual trauma is that somebody else is putting shame on you, and so you are taking on the weight of this shame that someone else has clothed you with, and so for whatever reason, it's that much harder to take it off. And so for us, just to see the weight of shame lifted from women, I'm talking like we were at our board meeting the other night. We were just talking about, the impact that we're seeing, and just how there's some women who come through the groups who the first week are just, shut down, don't want to, and at some point in the first group, they catch on that these people share the experience. They carry the shame also, and they come back the next week or the third week, and it's almost like the shame is starting to lift and they're seeing freedom. And just to know that you're not alone, that you have not been the only one who's experienced this, is a huge weight lifted, and allows you to just kind of start taking off those layers of shame that somebody else has put on you. So, and it's been really neat over the past year. My daughter, she took the Journey to Heal study, and she went from not wanting to talk at all about her abuse to now she's on social media with me, not freely, of course, but with me, telling her story and sharing what she's been through, and just to see that shame lifted off of her, it's totally God.
Yeah.
Because for years we've been dealing with this. We've been unpacking this for years, and it wasn't until she let God in just a little bit that we saw the shame start lifting, and it's just amazing.
Flicker of light. light a match in a canyon,
Yeah.
and it'll light it up.
Yeah.
Can't it always wins? So I think one of the questions, I guess, that comes to mind for me, or at least a thought to maybe touch on, is the downside of allowing this to stay in that place. So we talk about healing, and that's we're after that. So let's look at maybe a deterrent in holding that in out of fear or whatever, or not engaging this. What are the downsides? Well, we talk about you mentioned prostitution and that kind of stuff, but do a lot of these people, and maybe men and women both, just generally become abusers themselves? Is that and I don't know that much about this, but that seems to be a broken brakes, broken on and on and on. Is that something that you guys have seen or addressed, or
Yes. Yes, that, and so they they can become abusers themselves, sexual abusers, sexual predators. But there's also other ways that it comes out in marriage and intimacy issues.
Okay.
And really just the way you treat people. I know that for several people that I've been with through this, one of the ways it comes out is in controlling the situation.
Okay.
And just,
We've just got to let you know we got like 10 seconds.
okay, just feeling like you have to control everything.
Okay. Well, we'll jump right back
Okay.
on that
Yeah.
next segment.
Absolutely, guys. We are taking a short break here. Emily Parker in studio from Journey to Heal Ministries. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you, Print. We'll be back right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of our show, Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, the co-founders of Uprint. Show is all about helping you live out your faith where you spend the majority of your times, and that is between Sundays. Many thanks to Nick Craig in the studios here at 106.7 FM, Wilmington's Big Talker, WFBT, for putting this on. We are on every single Sunday from 12 to 2 p.m. On the Big Talker. Live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Wednesday from 1 to 3. Appreciate you tuning in, letting us know where you're listening from, and asking any questions. Today, we're joined in studio by Miss Emily Parker, sharing a powerful story about sexual abuse, sexual trauma, and kind of her heart to join with Journey to Heal Ministries to make an awareness of this and to put an end to it, quite frankly. And so that is super awesome. We're going to jump on that here in just a second. I want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible, one of those being Melissa the Coach. Melissa the Coach is a speaker and personal finance coach who helps people live intentionally by teaching them to manage money the way God intended. You can connect with her, Melissa the Coach, at gmail.com, online at melissathecoach.com, or via phone 910-338-9612. Emily, before the break, we've talked about a lot today. We talked about the hope that's available when people do step into healing their past. But Kevin had asked a great question. You brought up some great points about the problems that exist when people stay in this place, kind of covered in the shame of their past. Talk a little bit more about that.
well, obviously what we were talking about, what I mentioned earlier, the alcohol abuse, it can lead to prostitution, drug abuse, all these things, but there's also smaller things that kind of just eat away at your life, like obsessive compulsive disorder, like things that come out that just really are hard for people to control. We see a lot of divorce, intimacy issues, just
You mentioned
depression.
controlling.
Yes, just the need to control every situation, and you can't. You can only control yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, just a lot of those things that come up. And, it's easy to think, well, it's because my life is so stressful, or it's because I have this many kids and, just all these things. But really at the root of it, it is, if you've experienced sexual trauma, there is a good chance that that's where it's stemming from. So
That's great. I mean, it's great to just shed the light.
Mhm.
And I think what's really important about that is you've got these incredibly terrible, deep things that are so obvious, like, oh my gosh, that's the life that's really messed up. But then you're going to these things that are almost so easy to sweep under the rug, this compulsive thing or these marital problems. And, marriage is hard enough.
Yeah.
And we love our spouses. Yay. We all have great spouses, but it's hard enough without all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really good. Let's keep going, but maybe transition into, what's next? What are you working on? And what's Journey to Heal doing right this minute?
So right this minute, actually yesterday we launched the End 1 in 10 campaign, which is this beautiful shirt. And that actually was started by Crystal, the author of Journey to Heal, and my daughter, Kayla. And it really is just a way for everybody to use their voice, raise awareness, learn about body safety, how to teach your kids about body safety. We have lots of resources at that website, journeytohealministries.org/end1in10. And really just to make it so it isn't an epidemic anymore. We can't end child sexual abuse because we live in a fallen world, but we can lower those numbers. And so we can end 1 in 10 in that aspect.
Tell us a little bit about Kayla's heart for this. Not necessarily the struggle and what she's been through, but just how she lights up. And you said she's kind of stepping in and stepping out and really getting her voice.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Because I am so deep in the Journey to Heal Ministries volunteering, I told her when Crystal asked, you can do this, but I can't do it for you. So if you want to do this, you go for it.
Yeah.
I'll support you. And she really has, man. She has stepped into her role. She has had meetings with Crystal. She has really put herself out there and said, I may be embarrassed at first, but if it helps one person, then that's what I'm going to do. So it's just been awesome to see her blossom. And I know it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So
even having spent a little bit of time around her and she's so mature, so settled. And of course, every parent's got their,
Yes.
we've got to manage our kiddos, but from an outsider perspective, you guys are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And gosh, just big things ahead for that young lady.
Yeah.
I can just feel that. But anyway, let's keep going and talk about the connection between Journey to Heal and the race and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to let our listeners know, we had Crystal on the broadcast. Gosh, it's probably been 6 months ago or so.
Yeah.
But Crystal shared, her story and a lot about Journey to Heal. I just want to encourage our listeners and viewers to go back on the podcast, and they can check that out there to kind of get a full picture that this is one side of the coin, that's the other side, right?
Yeah.
And Crystal put some links here in the show today for folks that want to get plugged into the N1 in 10. Tell folks how they could get involved specifically in N1 in 10. I mean, I know to go to journeytoheal, .org/N1 in 10. But talk about the hashtag, talk about how that, and then talk about the upcoming race at Brunswick Forest.
Okay, so to get involved, you really can just go to the website, order a shirt, wear the shirt, and then let the conversation start. People want to know what it means, and it's an opportunity, whether you've been a victim of sexual abuse or not, to go, this is not okay, and these are the numbers, these are the statistics, and this is what we can do to change that. And it really does not take long. I mean, you can spend 30 minutes educating yourself on the numbers and on prevention and make a huge difference in a child's life. So educate yourself and post on social media with your shirt on, with the hashtag End1 in 10.
Cool looking shirt, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Really cool.
So it's super simple. It's really not hard. And then as a segue, I guess, into the race, it would be awesome if you would go buy a shirt and then register for the race and register under the End1 in 10 team, which we will be setting up soon. So just to rally around for our kids and for survivors of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
So go get a t-shirt and register for the race. We've got a couple minutes left in the segment here. Let's talk about the race. This is the Rise Up race series.
Yes.
You guys have partnered with a couple of other Ministries nonprofits to have a 3-part race series. You guys are kicking it off with the Hope Run.
Yep.
And we're tickled that you guys thought of us to be involved in this and be out there. I'm going to have to get my rear end in motion and try to run around a little bit. I might do the power walk. You know, I might do the little thing, let my kids run around.
You can prancercise.
I could do whatever it is. Yes, we'll go right on down the road. You know I will.
That's a picture.
Prancer-size. That's amazing. That's like an emoji you sent me when I texted you. You're like doing some cartwheel.
It's an Emilyism.
I love it. Talk about this race, the Rise Up Race Series and the Hope Run specifically.
All right. So last year, the Hope Run was an idea. Like at this time last year, we were like, it would be cool if we could do a race. And then it was like, whoa, slow down. We don't know what we're doing. And it honestly, God just kind of got the ball rolling. I'm in a run group with a bunch of ladies called Leland Lady Runners. And the woman who started that, she started talking about putting on a race series. And I said, hey, we want to do a race. So let's get together and make it happen. And so we have. And the Carousel Center has joined in on that race series. So April 27th, we'll be out there kicking off the Rise Up Race Series and raising awareness.
It seems like such a simple thing, but it's such a powerful thing to raise awareness. Just step into knowing about this. Don't let it be covered up anymore. And anyway, you're a go-getter.
Well, you can do something about it. People watching, listening, they can do something about it.
Yes.
You can take action, or you can just turn the channel. And why are you here?
Yeah.
Let's do something about this.
Or you can sit on Facebook and go, oh, that makes me mad.
And not
Oh,
do
that makes
anything.
me mad. Oh, that makes me mad.
And it has generational impact.
Right.
Yes.
That's a huge thing when you think
Yeah.
20, 30, 50 years out. What you do, even wearing a T-shirt,
Right.
can matter.
It matters. Well, we're wrapping up the segment here, but we want to make sure that our listeners and viewers are a part of this as we are. So you can go to journeytohealministries.org/N1N10 to join that, and then /Hope Run to get registered for the Hope Run. Join us out there on April 27th. Crystal has been awesome to put that in the comments here for those that are watching it on Facebook Live. Emily, thank you.
Thank you.
For being brave and courageous and raising awareness and stepping in. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.
Appreciate you guys. We're going to take a short break. Be back for our last segment on faith in business right after this. Hello and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of Wake Up Our Faith, a weekly show from Uprint. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, the co-founders of Uprint. We have had a fantastic show today. I'm so grateful for Emily just being courageous enough to share her story. She joined us there and got to talk about Journey to Heal Ministries. We so appreciate her vulnerability and willingness to do that, and believe that it will really help change and transform people's lives that can get involved and step into this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the kind of partnerships and peripheral ministries that we stand behind and want to support. I mean, that one's got huge impact. It's very tangible, and yet it's very simple to get involved. So no arguments, right?
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. I think one of the things that we talk about, within this context of the show, Kev, is faith in business. And when you can tell when people are truly inviting faith into, whether it's their nonprofit or their family life or whatever, the kingdom is united.
Yeah.
It's not divided.
Right.
It's not nonprofits fighting over a dime. It's folks that are saying, like, we have this vision and this mission, and we're stepping into it.
Right.
And it all works together. It's not competitive.
It does. It's one body, many parts. It does. It really works together, and when we have a heart to just jump in. But I don't know. We could talk all day about the Parker family. They're just great. Got to see Kayla just now, and she's just so young. God's just got big plans for her. But wonderful folks, wonderful family, wonderful ministry, and Journey to Heal. So we'll continue to speak about that and the race coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we just, it's an honor to be involved in this, Kev. And one of the things I continue to see evolve It's just our ability to connect and to be a conduit and a network for people who are looking to get plugged in.
Right.
One of the things that I think would be remiss to not talk about is what we do as an organization and how it coincides with folks who are walking through past pain points like this.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin, you head up, our mentoring discipleship arm. So you deal with a lot of people in one-to-one conversations who have wrestled with these past pain points. And just talk to that for a minute for the viewers that are listening and watching about because here's the deal. So many people, Kevin, are hesitant or afraid or cautious to jump into mentoring, counseling, consulting, coaching, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But it is what transforms their life.
It does. Yeah. It's funny. People will say, I'm in, I want to do it. And then they'll, for whatever reason, something between will get in the way and fear, whatever obstacle, and then we won't hear back for a while. But then they cycle back eventually, and I see that it's very common. I'll get texts from people. Sometimes I call it mentoring by text. People will kind of jump out or not quite connect, but they'll text me and say, "Man, I'm having this kind of problem or struggling with this," and I spend time doing that. But ultimately, what we're after is what did Jesus do? What did he do? From an earthly ministry, not just being the Redeemer, but just this incredibly gifted man who gave his life while he was living and beyond. What did he do? He discipled people. He spent time with them. He met people face to face and helped them. And so that's what we do. And that's the big thing that's missing when you try to do it all on Sunday. It doesn't work. Yeah. So anyway,
I think the world thinks it's crazy to, be discipled or be in that relationship. But in the gospel context, it's crazy not to.
Exactly.
Everybody has to be. It has to happen.
Yeah.
And we look at it as odd or different or weird or I don't want to be in my business or whatever. But you stay in these same stuck places and wonder, why that there's not transformation. I think about Paul constantly when he said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
And yet the same level of thinking that got you into your situation is not going to get you out.
That's right.
And so when people live that way, it just baffles my...
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing are these behavior patterns. And we could talk about that, with Emily a little bit in that specific struggle or problem that can become generational and turn into all these other ugly things. But strongholds, if you want to put it into a greater context, come from a variety of painful events, things that are traumatic, things that crush the soul or bruise it or scar it. And those things become manifest in behavior patterns, and they're negative behavior. And they lead us away from living that full, faithful, satisfying life that blesses others into a self-preservation, will-powered, striving struggle that never quite gets purpose. And it's so fast that you just don't have time for anything else. What is the investment that you're willing to make in God? Well, you're really making that investment in yourself. Anything else is peripheral. So mentoring, discipleship, coaching, whatever you want to call it, helps unearth those things and get them out. And we see it over and over again. People go, oh my gosh, this has helped me. This has changed my life. I've heard that a lot, and I'm not saying it from a place of, oh, look at me. I'm saying it, man, my heart swells because people need it. But so many people won't engage it because they're afraid or for one reason or another, but it's needed.
I look at any great successful business person, icon, and whatever you want to look at. I mean, just put whoever you want to up there on the pedestal. They all have someone that's walking with them through various aspects of their life.
Sure.
Whether it's their physical health, have a personal trainer, Right. All these different things, their business mindset, executive coaching, spirituality, it's there. You can't run from it.
Right.
You can't, it's necessary. And so we have to stop treating it that has this stigma on it and just jump and dive in.
Yeah.
And once you do, it starts to unpack and just evolve. And, I remember this is like a couple of years ago, the Stephen Covey book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Mm-hmm.
When I was thinking about that, God gave me a picture of someone's eulogy being read. And, would you say he lived an effective life? I mean, surely nobody wants to die and be remembered as effective.
Yeah.
And as a Christian, right? As a Christian, you want to be remembered as faithful. Well done, my good and faithful. We've talked about that from your book. It ain't about fame. It ain't about popular. It's about faithfulness.
That's right.
So why do we invest time and energy and resources into becoming more effective and neglect becoming more faithful? It's insane.
Yeah, it is.
And so we turn that on its head. That's the innovation that we bring to the table with our organization.
Right.
Is to help people focus in the right area.
Yeah. And in the context of this hour, and with we had Emily on, and we have other guests regularly now, we're trying to show examples of how to carry this out during the week, and in particular in the context of business, but whatever you're doing in your daily life is contributing to your family, to the world around you, and so we call that business. It's really more about the week and the time spent. But you can do it. You don't have to shove this all into Sunday. So there's a very personal aspect to it, but it also manifests itself in everything you do. And that's the way it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be put in a box. And when we are courageous enough to go, I'm in, and then all the hypocrisy falls away, and God does amazing things. God can do anything, but he will do anything when we let go and just let him. But he won't force it on us, So it takes a little bit of courage, but if you'll give just a little bit, man, he will step in and blow the doors off.
I've been reading in the book of Joshua as of late, kind of in my quiet time, and we've talked about this on the air, but it's just prevalent to the conversation now. When you step in and let faith drive it, it likely is not going to look the way the world thinks it's going to look.
Right.
He said, how did you capture Jericho? We blew trumpets and marched around for 6 days. But that's what they did, right? And we say it's the behest of logic that these things happen. But this is in our lives today, all of this greatness, it happens by people who are courageous enough to press in and follow where God leads.
Right.
Let him give the victory. He get the credit, and he gives us the victory. And people are so terrified to live this way, and it baffles me. And I was for years. I kind of came around. I'm like, what the heck, everybody? Wake up.
Yeah. Well, you look at great people through history, and you see them. They come and go. What's the key element? It's courage. And courage in Christianity looks like faith. So just step in just a little bit, and God will do the heavy lifting.
Beautiful, guys. Connect with us at uprint.life or wakeupmyfaith.com. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams. See you next week.